All right, so welcome everyone to our deep dive today. Um, Today's question is a big one.
It certainly is.
Yeah, it is a really big one. It's about, what the future holds for humanity in the 21st century, especially with all these wars happening. Right. Yeah, heavy stuff. It is. It's one of those questions that's like been on people's minds forever.
Probably since the dawn of time, I'd say.
Seriously. But we've got, some interesting sources here to kind of springboard off of. And
Absolutely. And, even though we can't, see the future, right? We can look at what's happening now and kind of what's happened in the
yeah,
past.
what are the patterns? Yeah.
Exactly. And get a sense of where things might be headed.
Right. See, the question specifically mentions all these wars. And I'm curious, for you listening right now, what comes to mind when you hear that phrase? Are you thinking, about a particular conflict that's really grabbing headlines?
Like what's going on in Ukraine, for instance.
Exactly. Or, maybe those tensions in the South China Sea.
Yeah.
Always heating up over there.
Right. And I think it's important to remember, too, that war these days, it's not always tanks and troops. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's a good point.
Cyber attacks, disinformation campaigns, economic warfare.
Oh, for sure.
All that's part of it now.
Like the battlefield's everywhere now. And with technology evolving so rapidly, it just adds another layer of
Complexity.
exactly, complexity. Yeah. Just think about AI for a second. On one hand, it could be used for, I don't know, peacekeeping strategies.
Conflict resolution, even.
Totally. But then, flip side, you've got the potential for autonomous weapons.
Right. Making decisions without us even being involved.
Yeah, that's kind of scary. And we're already seeing this starting to play out. Remember that cyber attack that crippled the Canadian power grid?
Oh, yeah.
Imagine that happening on a larger scale.
It's a whole other level of vulnerability, right?
Absolutely. And then, on top of all that, you got to consider the wider impact of all this conflict, not just on individual countries, but
on humanity.
Yeah, exactly. Economically, socially, the environment.
All of it. Wars displace people, devastate economies, and do serious damage to the environment. It's like this chain reaction. It just keeps going. And then layer on top of that other huge challenges we're facing in the 21st century.
Like climate change.
Exactly. Resource scarcity, rising inequality. All of these things have the potential to spark new conflicts.
So it's like all these different forces are converging.
Right. And it's hard to know exactly what the outcome will be.
It is. One thing I keep coming back to is how resilient humans are.
Oh, for sure. We've been through so much throughout history.
Pandemics, world wars, natural disasters. And somehow we always find a way to adapt and, innovate.
Totally. And that's where I think hope lies, in our ability to learn from the past, to cooperate, to make choices that lead us towards a more peaceful and sustainable future.
That's a good point. It's not all doom and gloom, right? We have agency in this.
Yeah, we do. We have the power to shape the future. It's just a matter of, how we choose to use that power.
So, to everyone listening, what are your thoughts on all this? How do you see yourself fitting into this big picture? Do you see a future dominated by conflict or
one where we've overcome these challenges?
Yeah, where we've learned to cooperate and thrive?
It's a question worth thinking about, that's for sure.
Absolutely. And, on that note, I want to leave you with one final thought. Given everything we've discussed today, where do you think you can make the biggest impact? Is it in preparing yourself and your loved ones for potential disruptions? Is it in advocating for policies that promote peace and sustainability? Or maybe it's something else entirely.
The possibilities are really endless.
They are. So keep exploring those possibilities, keep asking those tough questions, and most importantly, keep striving for that better tomorrow.
Couldn't have said it better myself.
Thanks for joining us to this deep dive. We'll see you next time.
See you then.